computer.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Yep.
Yay. So
And it lets you
recording is
know.
yay. Well, that sounds good. And I guess we could launch this as kind of the official start of it because we definitely, the ones who brought it up that they were interested in doing this, wanted to definitely talk about query letters and publishing in general. How do we go from where we're at now to actually being a published not author? I'm gonna ask a question to so because I put
Oh,
a
and she
whole lot of
comes.
information in the folders, and we could talk about all of this stuff, but and I know query letters
You're
is one of
cutting
the
in
top
and out.
ones. Am I in and out? Trying to sit
Yeah,
a little
you're a
closer.
little bit in and
The
out.
recording will
Okay.
take more internet signal strength.
Yeah, well, I was
Okay.
wondering, recording to your computer might take more CPU. If you record it to the cloud, it might be go smoother. I don't know.
Okay, I could change it over.
Yeah, it could also be any Internet Explorer or
Okay.
devices. So you have to I usually turn all the optional stuff off, like all
Uh,
of my emails except for the links to get to the meeting. I don't know. I turn off my music playing system. I make sure there are no external files on. Just yeah, try to clear up the desk bar as much as you can. So
okay.
take up less uh, bandwidth strength. But like I said, I'm spitballing here.
Okay. Sounds good. So are you guys with all the other publishing stuff? Amanda, you were probably good at it. Do anyone want to go to the folder I created for today? And when we talk about stuff, do a screen share of any of the query letters, stuff like that. So, what are you guys most interested in hearing about tonight? Query letters, publications in general, synopsis, or the whole nine yards? Talk to me. What do you guys want to do tonight?
I think with query letters, I need to kind of know like where to go with them. Like, not necessarily make it because you can find templates. But for me, I don't know, ooh, I have this. What do I do with it now? Like,
Okay, that's
because
a
each
good
query letter
question.
should be so
Yeah.
different per genre, but I
Yeah.
don't know where to go to say, who do I give it to?
Well, I
I,
sent a lot of information out on that, but and we can do the screen share in a minute and talk about because I sent some of that stuff in emails. But Jen, you actually have a agent that has responded to you. So, how would you address Amanda's question for her?
Amanda, sorry, is your question how to write the query letter, or like once you write it, where do you send it?
Yeah, like how do you find who's looking for what?
So I go to, hold on, let me make sure I have the right website. Okay. Um, so this is the website that I go to right now. Um, did anyone see that link? That's the website that I go to. And then that way, like, it also, you can, I use the free version, but if you were to like pay for the other version of it, it would also track,
Mhm.
whenever somebody like rejects you or who you queried with, you can have different projects going too, and so you could also click on like when you query somebody, you can select what project you want to be querying them with. um, but I use this right now just as my database to help me start my research.
Mhm.
I,
And
I have the paid version. I could screen share to show what that looks like
yeah, yeah, you that yeah, you
because I
show,
was used
yeah,
to the
for
same one.
yours. Yeah, you should
Uh, let's see. So, I can share my screen.
Yeah, my fiance is willing to help me with if I
It's
use
only,
the paid
it's actually
version.
really reason. I think it's only like $25 a year, so it's not like it's pretty,
Mm.
pretty affordable. It's not like anything.
Like $300 a month.
Another
Yeah.
source of mine, it's like this website called Predators and Editors, and they're basically a list of
Okay.
okay, they're basically a list of publishers, and between publishers or just somebody who says they're a publisher and just wants the money. So at least you can
Okay.
go. I have no idea when it was the last time it was updated, But I did talk about the med and she recognized that, so I think it's still in force.
Okay. That basically gets wades through the scammers.
Yeah, so Vanity Press, do nothing.
Yeah.
Don't go there. They're all about money.
Yeah,
If
no, that
I've
is a
any,
learned
good
that one. I've
website.
yeah,
seen that a
if any
lot.
publisher app tells you we can do this if you give me money, then no, walk
Anyone
away.
asking you to pay them, just stay away because it's not, yeah, they're not legit. Uh, anyways, so I can go through. So this is Query Tracker, which is like the same. It's the same partner website, Query Manager, but and it's like $30 a year. So this is a dashboard, and yeah, like she was saying, again, different projects. Of course, now you can see it. My I sent 15 queries out, and none of them, all of them were rejections. Yay. But generally, it has. I haven't done it in a while, so I don't have any outstanding. Because I needed a little break after so many rejections. But
Can
uh,
we see like a sample query letter? Do you have one that you can pull up?
uh, I do. I do. But I thought we were going through how to like find agents right now, which is
I
kind of a
was just
different
curious.
process. But
Yeah.
I think there are both mine, which wouldn't be the better, but also Jen has hers in the folder, which is probably a better one to look at since she has actually had a successful feedback. But anyways, so the better uh answer your question, Amanda, is so
Mhm.
here's the agents
Okay.
list, and pretty much all like 90+% or whatever legitimate agents all use this website, are listed on it at least, and
Mhm.
you can then you can filter by like what genres they cover, what countries they're in, etc. And then you can go and like you know you can also what you really what you need for sure need to do is hide closed agents because you can't query agents who aren't looking for books
Okay.
or for queries. And then I would do uh, US, so I'm not getting and so it shows you if I've already queried, um, like it's already check marks, not only if it's one I've queried, but also if it's at the same agency, because typically, uh, you're not supposed to query multiple agents at the same agency. Um, that's just kind of a rule of thumb. But anyway, so this list, you can filter them down, but all these people are looking for, and you can click on their name, and not only show you like what genres they're interested in, but also you can even see like this is an extremely low query reply rate, so you can see like how likely they even are to reply to you. So I probably wouldn't be my first person to go to there. So I'm not going to invest a bunch of time, but and then, it has some other information like average request, time it takes them to request. But generally, they'll also in this they'll have like see other email. They'll have the link to their agency, and this is also really, Chris, it's really good to check their website because they'll list like more in depth what kind of stuff they're looking for generally, or what kind of stuff they like. So you can like kind of match up if your book sounds like something they might be interested in. And then the other thing is, so there's kind of like two main ways to like actually submit query letters, and it kind of depends on the agent. Some like this one, he only accepts via email, so you just would copy and paste and then they don't know agents want attachments because they could have like a virus or whatever, so you just copy and paste the text literally into the email. But a lot of agents will also use the query manager form. I'll make sure I go to one that so I can show like this person. Uh, you go to their form and you like fill. sometimes, well, no, this person doesn't use the query manager form, so that was a bad example. Here's one. Although, and then you like fill it out here and put the query letter in here, and then you submit, and then if you have the paid version, it'll track, and when you submitted it, how long it's been, if you got a positive or negative response. You can also see some people like leave comments like, I queried this time, no response, etc. So, but it's just like, this is just like a good list to like know what agents are out there and what they're looking for, because like pretty much all legit, not all, but like most legit agents are going to be listed here. It's just basically almost like a database. And so yeah, I think this is pretty good resource to use when you're looking for who you should query.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is the website that I used to find the one that requested the partial and then now the full manuscript. So this is where I found her.
Yeah. Like Jenna was saying, you don't actually need to subscribe to like look at the lists of agents. They'll be on there. The subscribing just gives you like a couple extra tools of like, tracking keeping track of who you've submitted to, who's replied, who hasn't, and also gives you a couple extra like filtering. You don't have to pay to just see, the list of agents. Further questions about this website, but
No, I just kind of do things backwards because now I know where to go, and knowing that they have that form to query on some of them. Like I know query letters are unique for each person, each book, but they still have a standard format.
yeah.
So like this helps me knowing, okay, where to go. Because I know working on the query letter is going to be way longer than finding this list. This may take 5 minutes of our time, whereas the query letter itself may take up majority of it. And then if I did have it, if I was done, I would not know where to go next. Like I'd have it be sitting there like, now I have to wait for the next time we have one of these to ask that question.
Yeah. How I like to think of it so far is it's kind of like a cover letter,
Hmm.
in that, you have your base template, right? Or base cover letter that you've written, but then, some job, like you can make special edits depending on
Hmm.
like what job you're applying to or what agent you're sending it to. Some people make, some personalization, or like, if they mentioned, sometimes they'll like on their website, like, I really like this author, and it is a genuine good comp for your book. That might be one where you like, oh, I can throw that in there. I don't know. But
Okay, well, thank you so much. I
anyways,
think for $25 or even, $30 a year, that's a
yeah.
reasonable
Yeah, it's
discount.
really it's really reasonable. But yeah, obviously, yeah, the list itself is free, and then yeah, the premium I think goes,
Does
yeah,
this
20
do the wish list?
25 a year. So you
Is this
get,
just the wish list for them? Or is that a whole different? Because I've heard of that there's an agent
yeah,
wish list.
there will be ones that have a wish list, like kind of, yeah, but that's usually will find like, I wish I could find a good example. I need to go to a good example, but that will generally be on their website itself.
Websites. Okay.
Um, so they'll have like, I mean, all the agent websites look differently, and there is like I'll have to look for it. There is like a website that does do that, like, does have, where a lot of agents use to how house their wish list.
Okay.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can.
So now that I jumped
Uh,
over the query letters, I could probably now go to the query letters. But
yeah.
otherwise,
So
like I said, I learned backwards.
yeah, no worries. But if that's, anyone else have questions about this, otherwise I'll stop sharing and we can kick it back to Shirley.
I have a question. First of all, it was very helpful. I had no idea such website exists. My question is that do I need to have the polished final version of my book to be able to contact the agents?
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, not like obviously if you were to get an agent, they'll go through editors and whatever, and it'll be, but it should be, yeah, it should be finished. Because then what will happen is, like, which happened, Jen, like they'll request, if they're interested, they request to read your manuscript, and they'll want like the final quote unquote. Because obviously, if they sign you and you get a publisher wants it, then it'll go through more editing processes. But it should be a polished version that's complete before you start
I see.
querying.
Got it. Thanks.
And unfortunately, you are gonna have to do some homework here. Yeah, probably like, you have to talk to these people sometimes. There's workshops that you can do that, run by Brian Clem, I think. And I try to do that with Megan. Like, I wanted to be memorable, and she dyed her hair blue. So I made, oh, you do know you look like a Dragon Ball Z character, right? And she instantly got that and said, now I have a new cosplay column. So now I'm the guy who I commented on her blue hair. So she's pretty much not going to forget me. Although it is still advisable that you go and make contact. Mm.
Yeah. And be
And one of the
careful
reasons
with jokes because everybody don't take it the same way. Someone could be offended by it where someone else could think it's the greatest thing on earth. So
Mm.
yeah, be a little cautious. Yes, Michael.
The reason why I'm pushing Megan so much is that she crosses across genres. She has about 17 books, couple horrors, couple any genre, and that's what she's done for her career. So she would have insight to whatever genre we're asking her, or whatever genre that we are representing or researching.
Okay.
That's why I'm pushing so hard.
Sounds good.
She's like a jack of all trades.
All right. So you guys, I'm going to attempt to share, that's good information, Michael, to share my screen so we can look at a couple of, no, that don't look
Okay.
right. I think that's what I want. I never get what I want when I think I know what I have to do to share it. Hit this, right? No. Okay. It, maybe I won't share it. Want you guys to know how to share screens. I wanted to go to the resource folder and look at that. Amanda or Avery, anyone want to volunteer? Um,
Yeah, I can do
Do
that.
you
Which
see a green square box with an arrow pointing up that says share?
yeah, but then when I hit that, it come up with anything I've had open all day, and I don't know how to get to see like which thing I
Oh,
want to share.
yeah, no, it can be, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can do that. Yeah, give me a sec.
Okay.
So you wanted to show the resource, or did you
I'm
want
sorry,
this one
not
today?
yeah, the one for today. I put a lot of stuff in there to try and make it easy so that we could just go to one thing. Yep. So if we go to the query letters, well, I'm sorry, Avery, could we go to the one that said the emails first? Because I want to just kind of share that real quick and then go to the query letter one. So it'll still be the one for today's folder, but I made two
Okay.
folders inside of it.
The
Yeah.
agents and publications listing.
Yes. Uh-huh. And so
And
in
then
this folder, and you don't even have to open any of them, I just kind of wanted to
okay.
point it out. I did try to do a little research and print out some things for different genres. So if you do poetry and short stories, you have that one. If you do romance, you have that. So just a few things. So if you go to that folder, especially Diane or some of the ones that's new that haven't been jumping around folders, it'll have a lot of um, specific informations for places that you could send your query letters to. And then Avery, now, thank you. If you go to the query letter folder one, we could look at a couple of those.
I also put a presentation in that folder, by the way.
Okay, good. And Avery, you can open my query letter if you want to do that one. I made a lot. I did the cover letter, the synopsis, a pitch, a query letter, quite a few different ones, so that if we wanted to look at them and see. But this one was kind of the most generic standard query letter that I saw. And my vision is, do anyone want to volunteer to read it?
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Dear Agent's Name, I am excited to present my manuscript, The Burdens of Fate, a spiritual dystopian novel blending supernatural warfare, high-stakes action, and profound character arcs. Complete at 115K words, this novel will appeal to the fans of Piercing the Darkness by Frank Peretti and Left Behind by Tim Laha and Jerry P. Jenkins. In the year 2039, humanity teeters on the brink of oblivion. Hunter Schreiner, leader of the Hidden True Believers, is the last beacon of hope against the Antichrist oppressive regime. Raised in the underwater refuge known as Angel's Landing, Hunter's destiny is entwined with divine forces beyond his understanding. When his former guardian angel Zelena defies celestial law to intervene in his fate, the battle between heaven and hell spills into the mortal realm. As dark forces tighten their grip and ancient prophecies unfold, Hunter must wield the legendary divinity's sword and unite humanity's remnants before Earth falls to demonic rule. This novel explores faith, sacrifice, and destiny through gripping supernatural battles and intense emotional conflicts. I would love the opportunity to share the burden of fate with you and discuss how it aligns with your agency's vision. Thank you for your time and consideration. I've included a synopsis, sample chapters per your submission guidelines. I look forward to your response. Best regards, Shirley Williams.
Okay. Thank you.
It's too much.
Okay.
You have to pare it down.
Okay. Michael, did you put one up? You got one too that we could sample, right?
It's not too much. It's only 222 words, and most query letters are like 2 to 400. I think is what I said. Like 2. It's definitely not too long.
Well,
I really think it's well done. It's very well written. This is Angie.
I concur. I don't think it's too long. I think it's concise and to the point. The only question I have is, I know it's sort of mixed, advice about adding anything personally, but I know that you are a person of faith, and that may come through. And Avery or others might know better, since I haven't actually queried. But how much do we put a little bit of personal in there?
No, I do think it's standard to have like 1 to 3 sentences at the end that just like a short bio.
I was following this one editor and publisher house. They have like editors, agents, all this other type of thing. One said usually in her standard is like, this is this one part, this is the other part, and the last part is kind of relating to yourself. They want to know a little bit about you because they also want to know not only query letter is important because what they said was you follow the directions. So they know that you're willing to work with them because you're following their directions. So if they say 300 words, do 300 words. If they say 421 words, to follow along with what they're doing. They had a section, it was for what your book is related to, like other books that you're relatable to, and then what your book is standalone about. And she says it's now become more common practice that they want to know you as the author, because if they do not relate to you in a personal level as well, it's sometimes now, because everything's social media, hard to market someone who they don't relate to. And it's not just the book. They could love your book, But if they realize they just can't work with you personally, sometimes they're like, I love this, I want everything to do with it, but me and you are not going to get along. We're just going to butt heads continuously because of beliefs, whatever. And I know work is supposed to have that it's work, but they're pitching you. And it's kind of hard to pitch someone that you don't have because it's not just your book, you're part of your book as well. So they said that's actually becoming kind of a little bit more common practice. And it's usually like 3 sentences. That's, nothing more than that they want to know about you.
Sounds good.
On the flip side, these publishers and agents, they're going through a lot of manuscripts, like 400 a day. So
Query letters, definitely not going through that many manuscripts. But of course,
yeah, you have to catch their attention, because if you don't, they'll just put you on the wayside. So it's like Amanda said, you have to obey what they do, of how they stream it. And I've been to agencies where they have multiple genre readers. It's just that they are an expert in different. Like one may be looking for young adult fantasy, or another one would be looking at dark fantasy. So you have to kind of tailor your letter to the agent that fits your genre.
Yes, that's true. But you're also tailoring which agent that you solicit as well, because if you're not dark fantasy, you wouldn't even be sending your query to an agent for dark fantasy. You should be sending it to one for whatever genre that you are trying to get published. Did anyone else want to share their query letter?
I have one, but I thought it was already in the resources.
I forgot I was sharing my screen. I'm just clicking around randomly for it. I was trying to find an example of like an agent who like listed their bunch of like.
It's like, look at all my stuff I have on here.
No, I was trying to find, because Amanda was asking about the wish list. I was trying to find, but I forgot I was actually sharing this.
Yeah, because it says like on the Readsy, I just put the link in the chat. It says like the generals is how to write a query letter. Start the query letter with a greeting, write a strong hook for the book, include a synopsis, compare your book to published titles, pitch your author credentials if you have them. But like in one person I was also listening to, if you're writing a psychological thriller and you happen to be a psychologist, that counts as a credential because you're a psychologist. So it doesn't mean like if you're writing about a children's book and you're a mom, it doesn't have to be like degrees, just what the reason why. Like I'm writing about mental health and fantasy. Well, I have no credentials on fantasy, but I do suffer from mental health. So that would be, a potential, not that I'm going to put it there. And then personalize to stand up from other queries. And then of course close by thanking the agent. So that was kind of one of the things that it kind of gives that structure more freely than like what they're like how many words or anything like that, but just kind of what you need to get into basically your screen. In like a resume, you don't really want things to go on to the next page.
I would say the one resource that I loved was Save the Cat.
Yes.
So the Save the Cat, if you all the way at the very end of it, it talks about query letters and how to write a catching pitch and all the other stuff, and like talks about like and that is a great resource too, because it talks about what key points you really should be including in your query letter. Because for me, some of you guys have seen my query letter like 3 times, because when I first started, I was just like, I don't know what to decide has to be in the information. It was like so hard to decide. And so I know for me, I personally have about 9 different versions of my query letter. And I saved every single one of them and I only use my newest one, but I keep every single one of them. And one of the advice that I saw online was to keep rewriting your query letter. And as you keep writing it, you will then start realizing that some things are more important, some things are not so much important to include. You find better ways to sometimes say something. And so I have like one of my documents has like 9 different ones, and it has helped me narrow down to how precisely I want to say something. So that's maybe one of my advice is just to forget the first time you wrote it and rewrite it like you forgot that one, and then rewrite it again later. And then you start looking at each one of them and you start realizing how to blend them together.
Do you also keep track of which version of the letter you sent to an agent?
I only use the latest one.
Yeah, but you've sent that letter to prior agents, prior version to agents prior to this, right? So do you keep track of, I sent version 3 to this agent and, they turned it down, but I got the indication it was because of XYZ in that version.
I've done that. So like some of my older query letters that I sent out like months ago, a lot of those were rejections. So I still have that one. That's what made me sit down and rewrite my query letter. Because I also was like researching that when you start querying, you should do it in like groups. So you send out about 10. And then you wait for those 10 to kind of get you feedback, and whatever that feedback is, if a lot of them were not really being positive in your responses, maybe relook at something and then resend it back out. I don't know. So, I mean, I don't really keep track of it. I just kind of know that I already queried them, even with the old one, they didn't like it. And so I just kind of keep whatever my newest version is. And then one document has all my old ones.
Is it the thing you're talking? Is it Save the Cat Writes a Novel? Is the book you're talking about, or are they also a website? Yes. So I just want to clarify what you were.
The website might have.
They have. I think they have it as well. But this, like, you can see all my little. And
nice.
like, I mean, like this. It says like, honestly, try to get how to say your book into one sentence. It's called the log line. So like,
yeah, that's my problem.
It says, and then they say there, yeah, that's the hard part because that's what they have to do for screenplays. And so it's kind of like how to write a book, kind of like a screenplay type thing. She took it from that. So like on here that they have like, let's see, I don't know any of these books. I've not read either one, but it's like on the verge of losing her home, an out-of-work alcoholic who frequently blacks out becomes entangled in a missing persons investigation. But when the man she's convinced is guilty is released, she must confront her inner demons once and for all before the key suspect turns his sights on her. And it's like, well, what's the novel? The answer is The Girl on the Train. So like, I can take this. I have a scanner. And so I think as long as I take this chapter, it's only a few pages, and I can scan it in. I think as long as I credit that, I'm like, I don't want to be copywriting or plagiarism or whatever, but like this one little chapter, I can, because it gives you, she takes books that people have read, like The Fault in Our Stars, The Martian, Ready Player One, Harry Potter, and The Sorcerer's Stone. Let's use this template and see what we get. And, like for Harry Potter, everybody's read Harry Potter, heard of Harry Potter, seen whatever. It's like on the verge of wasting away with a horrible foster family, an awkward orphan boy discovers he's a wizard and sets off to attend a magic school. But when an attempt is made on his life, he must finally prove his worth before the most evil wizard of all time gets his hand on a powerful totem that could bring about the end of the magic world. That's just one sentence. So not a short sentence. A very long sentence.
Oh yeah, no, it's hard to do.
So I'll scan this in, and then but this thing, I have read some other ones and like samples online, but this book, like, it is so easy to understand. I don't care if you've written only your first sentence of your book or like, it's so easy. And then she takes examples of books that we've all read for the most part. Apparently, I don't like to read any mainstream anything. But it's so, and then they have like excuse my receipt. I didn't have any post-it notes, but they have like checklists as well. So like what to look for at the end of the chapter. Like when you're going through this, apparently HeartGuard is also another bookmark. But yeah, this one, I keep this book like right around the corner. And it's how I plan out my books now. Not that I'm done, but it's helped me with streamlining things. And I completely forgot about the end because I'm not there yet, so I forgot that she had done that part. But I've read it like 5 times up to where I'm at now, plus taken notes, plus marked pages. It is going to be a very well used book.
Excellent, excellent. Have you written a queried letter yet, or you haven't started, Amanda, with writing your own?
I'm not even. My phone's supposed to be on silent. Sorry. I have not started because I'm now on writing chapter 26. But if I wait to even though I'm not finished, if I wait till I'm finished, I may be like, I'm done now. I need to wait, and I'll forget, and if it's not actively. So I'm always looking and taking notes of key lines that I like, or hey, this reminds me of this book. So that way, when you're supposed to refer to another author that you are similar to, hey, it reminds me of this. I just also I learned I didn't know what tropes are. That seems to be another important thing, is what tropes is your book about. So, I like that book too. That's a good book. The First Draft in 30 Days. I'm not that quick of a writer though. I don't.
So I didn't follow her exactly because I rarely follow anything exactly, even a recipe. Great worksheets and things that have helped me over the years with my process. So this is First Draft in 30 Days by Karen Weisner. Karen S. Weisner. It's Wiesner. She has so many great worksheets, and then she has a lot of appendices and things like that in the back, besides just the way that she teaches you how to do the different things. So it's an excellent book, and I always highly recommend it.
Oh, that's great. So it's funny now, First Draft in 30 Days, you have to be creative still, though. So is she saying that you could write a whole novel draft in 30 days, or you could just learn how to write it in 30 days?
I think it's, well, I don't.
Saying a draft. It's a draft. She's saying first draft in 30 days.
Okay.
A novel writer system for building a complete and cohesive manuscript.
Doesn't mean it's be good. It's a starting point.
I'll be right back, guys. I can hear my baby screaming, so I can check my wife.
Yes,
Needs help.
you're checking on the cute little
You
baby.
can let us meet her if you like.
She can come and visit. But with the query letters, like I've been looking a lot online, and following agents and publishers that talk a lot about query letters. And they say you have the standard, have like how Jen said, having different versions, and sometimes keeping 1 to 2, because sometimes how you pitch one agent, the query letter may be slightly different. So if you start seeing what they want is slightly different, keep that, because if they're a newer publishing house versus an older publishing house, the way the query letters look, the older ones want more of this style and the newer ones want a little bit more of this. So it can be the same letter but kind of worded and set up differently. They said that's been happening a lot, especially with all the new agents that are appearing out of nowhere. Let's see, what else did they say? They had like, I even like some of them with the editors was now, so it's kind of weird because some editors are offering query letter type things to scan over your own query letter. Like they're not accepting you, but they'll help you go through like, no, I would not accept this, and this is why, or yes, I would accept this, and this is, as a query letter, not as I'm accepting your manuscript, but as a query letter, I'd accept this, and this is why. So they kind of have different views on things, and most of it's just because of social media. Now, it's that's made such a big issue, but and another thing that what was else were they talking about was some of the newer publishing houses that are opening up, um, and not always Vanity Presses always want you to have followers or whatever. But some of the more established non-vanity presses sometimes now want you to have some type of like you've already tried to market yourself along with your query letter. And it's something simple. It's, hey, I'm writing this book. Here's some lines. Here's some, simple, small things, not like huge things, just to see that, yes, we're going to do a lot of it for you, but we also want you to be willing to do some too. Some of the work. It's not just us doing all of the work. Now you've handed this over and you're done. So I thought that was kind of interesting, like along with the query letters, just knowing that you have some type of push for it. You don't have to have like a ton of followers. You just have to have like some type of social media or something advertising that I'm writing. This is coming out. So that way, when they're doing the marketing and the publishing later, if they do take you on, you're part of it as well. And so that way they're not just 100% just them, which I thought was different because before social media, it was a whole different ballgame.
This
So I've
is
been
true.
doing tons of research.
Well, that's cool. So I have a question for all of you guys, then not completely leaving query letter, but kind of segueing a little bit into what type of publishing is everybody interested in. There are 1,001 self-publishing options. Of course, there are the paid ones that we just discussed. You don't want to go through those because that's kind of a gimmick, but like Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, all of these places have their KDP where that you could self-publish your own book. Of course, that's called indie publishing. So as far as the difference in indie publishing and being traditionally published, where the traditional publisher is with the publishing company, that's when we have to query and get an agent. Or the other option is trying to find a publication that accepts non-solicited manuscripts and trying to give a pitch to them yourself. Just kind of an ideal of where everybody head is at. What do you guys think about the difference? Is everybody just looking only for traditional publishing, or are you guys interested in self-publishing?
Self-publishing gives you all to control your story. The downside is that everything is on you. You have to market it. You have to develop. You have to actually go out and meet contacts. You have to do the heavy work because they're not going to help. They help for part of the profit. If you go to self-publishing, you have all control, but it's all on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I have no interest.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
one day if I just never am able to break through traditional, but it's just like marketing and like building up a following on the internet and like grinding that kind of stuff and like trying, it's just so not my wheelhouse and it's like just sounds horrible to me. Like I really don't like that doing that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the same for me. I know many successful indie authors in Instagram and TikTok, and they are selling their books very well, but they are very active, like spending a lot of time on marketing and answering followers and like building connections. That's not my wheelhouse as well. Like I'm not that kind of person. I cannot market for myself that much. Like I can make some short videos. I did that, but the algorithm is just so impossible that you cannot go viral that easy. So it's really challenging. That's why I wanted to prioritize traditional publishing first.
Yep, that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I guess for me, like, I want to do traditionally published, but like right now, I'm at still at the spot where like I'm just keeping my options open. Like I just kind of collect information and kind of see where things go and lead me. But I do know from my research that actually a lot of traditionally agents and traditionally publishers will expect you to be on social media and advertising your stuff no matter what. Even if you do traditional with an agent, they do expect you to be marketing online. I've seen a lot of agents request my Instagram or my website and stuff like that, where they're requesting and they look into, are you already, do you have a newsletter going out? Do you have anybody following you? Are you trying to connect with other people? And so I don't know. And I just seen that like, so I don't really know if traditionally published and agents would not expect you to not go out and still market. So like, I don't know. So that's why I'm like right now I'm at a spot where I try to keep my options kind of open because like if I find an agent and I find a traditional publish and they expect me to still do all the same amount of work as indie, being like an indie publisher or indie, publishing my book, I'm like, I don't know which one I want to go with. But that's why I'm just researching and I'm still at the spot where I just like to keep my doors open and see what, what contracts people would give or not give and will I get somebody or not get somebody? But I do know a lot of them, especially on the, I'm not sure, Avery, if you've seen this too on when you've queried through that website, a lot of them will ask you, what is your Instagram? What is your X or whatever, Twitter? I don't have one of those, so I always leave it blank. And then they say, what's your Instagram? Some of them will ask. And so they will ask if you have those and they will go and look you up. So.
And they want something.
I've seen those, but I've also, and I probably should not be doing this, but I'm really bad. And those are usually not required fields. And I just usually, if they're not required, unless I feel like I have something good to put there, I don't fill those out. So
yeah, I have
probably should be.
On TikTok, I have like the little author blurby thing where you just put it, and it's stupid stuff. Like, because I'm not published, I'm not edited, I'm not anything. So it's like, write with me today. What did I do this week for? It's stupid, the stupidest crap, and I refuse to show my face. Like, absolutely refuse to show my face. But I have it set up as a business thing so that way I could do lives eventually. But I think I'm gonna switch over to YouTube because TikTok is stupid, and I'm tired of the people that message you there. But at the same time, it's the easiest one, and it's easier because you can take those same videos and put them over to Instagram with a click. Like it's not even so you can do 2-for-1s. So that's always a good thing is doing the 2-for-1s. But I used to sell like makeup and skincare, and it was all online. So I'm quite used to lives. I'm quite used to being like, I don't know how to put on makeup, and I'd be the first person to jab myself with mascara and eyeliner. And that was actually like why people would watch my lives is to see how I was going to hurt myself with makeup because I always hurt myself with makeup. So like on my book thing, it's like how to procrastinate and not write your book. What am I doing instead of writing? And that's like some of what my things are. And those get the most views because apparently doing Legos and painting Warhammer is more important than writing your book. So it doesn't have to be the book 24/7. It's your marketing for you. Again, just like they have to get along with you. They have to, my marketing styles align with your marketing styles as well. So some of that is like I don't put my face in things. It's mostly my hands, those types of things. But
that's another reason why I don't put it because my Instagram is just pictures of my dogs and pictures of my baby.
What if they love dogs? No, you start your own just for that. Like mine is A.L. Joyner because when I get married, I'm like, I'm not going to keep my last name. I'm taking Charlie's last name. And so it's already A.L. Joyner. I have everything over there. So none of it's connected to, and then like, it's not connected to my personal Facebook. It's not connected to my other things. It's its own separate entity. Oh, sorry. Dog the zoomies. Sorry. You're going to fly through the door. But, like they do want that because the things is like I'm reading this one thing, how to publish a book in 2024, and it's from the lady that I follow, Sarah Cannon. It's an older one. She hasn't done a newer one as of yet, but it gives you like the pros and cons of, like access to bookstores. Access to this is if you're traditional, if you're indie, but like with indie, you get more options to your book cover, you get final say in more things. Traditional publishing, they decide your book cover. You have some input, but they decide more of what your book's going to look like. They can change your main character's name if they wanted to. You give away a lot of your rights for it. If you do get royalties ahead of time, the way royalties work is they give you the chunk ahead of time for what you're projected to sell. And unless you go over that amount, you'll never see any extra money at all. So that's another thing. Whereas indie writing, because you paid for it all yourself, you're 100% royalties. But now with Kindle Unlimited, they are having issues where Kindle because it's Amazon, they own your book. You can't go anywhere else. They want, it's if you do their Kindle Unlimited. So they have control over your book and where you go, which you still do all the stuff, but now you can't go anywhere else with it. And that's some traditional publishers, then if they do like your book, they don't always take on the second or third one because you're already here with the first one and they can't have the first one unless Amazon lets it go, which sometimes that's an issue. And then it's price, how much you want to. For traditional publishing, they will help you with the editors and the line edits and the developmentals and those things. Or do you want to have the money set aside of $5,000 or however much it costs for you to do the how much editing do you want to do on your own that you have to pay someone and hope that they do the things that you want to do? And it's you just got to look at all the pros and cons. So I'm stuck between, like, I would love to get traditionally published, but if that does not work, I've given myself a time frame of if that does not work, and I've now saved up the money I need for a good editing, good book cover, good marketing, while I'm waiting for this to get queried out and an agent to look at me. If I've done it all and nobody still wants it, I'm going to do it the other way. So I think that's where I'm at, is the waiting for the time frame to save up in between, and then I can also write the other, like, I had 2 books going and both of them are series, so maybe I can just get the series done, and then that's also more marketable as well if it's already finished versus just the first one of a series.
Yeah, I actually saw some an indie author. Sorry, ignore my 2-year-old. She's running and screaming in the hallway. But when I saw an indie publisher, she was I forget what series it is. I'll have to research what it was. But so she wrote her whole series. And when she was ready to launch her business, like her website and everything, she decided to make sure her whole series was done, and she was releasing each book once a month. And so, and then by the end of 4 months, she said that she just blew up because it was completed series. And she had this big celebration of the book 2's out, whatever. And I forget who it was, but she did a really she just blew up. So I definitely think that if you want to be indie, I don't know, indie published, doing something like that where you have a big you've
got to with
book 2, book 3, whatever,
Yeah.
then get a following.
I've heard this kind of similar thing, or they'll do they'll release book in batch, part 1, part 2, like a lot of people who publish online do.
Well, see,
yeah,
that's what Stephen King did with his Gunslinger series. He put a chapter inside he put a couple chapters in the magazine and tried to start a story from there, and kept on adding the rest of it every chance he could get. So it wasn't a complete book at first. It was a chapter sold in smaller magazines.
Yeah, he did that in The Green Mile as well. He did it, set up the newspaper style, where it was, this one section and stuff like that. But the lady I follow, she's got 30 plus books out of one series, and she just started a different series that she's writing. but she goes through with her following, and it's literally, you know, from start to finish. Like she will help you start and lay out. This is how I plan my book. That's where I got the thing with this thing with the index cards with all my scenes written out. So like it has, those are the scenes that I've done that you guys have all experienced so far. These are all the scenes that I have left to do, and I have them done by acts. So like, well, apparently I need to kind of keep up with my thing needs to move. But she goes through that. I can't do as detailed as she does because I am a pantser and I do not plan things very well. Um, but when she comes out with her book on her release day, she's hitting like number one on Kindle Unlimited, number one on Amazon, number one on a whole bunch of things because she has such that strong following. And she really does like coffee chat, where you meet up with her on Zoom for 30 minutes in her group or on YouTube, and she drinks coffee with you and talks to you. That's it. And like she has where they watch horror movie nights because she does like, kind of like the scarier movies or the scarier books. So like she does a horror movie night where you guys watch movies together, or you watch like The Princess Bride and we all watch it together and everybody's like streaming and chatting. The smallest little things to be able to market yourself that has nothing to do with your book, but helps you have a connection to the people that they want to support you, even if they don't like your book. This, like, oh, book 12 I hated, but I'm going to buy book 13 because I like you as a person. So when it comes down to the marketing, it's not just your book, it's your lifestyle stuff. So Avery, all the little dog pictures, somebody would probably love all the little dog pictures, and that would get you somebody to like you as a person and want to support you because of the dog pictures. And it's just little things like that. But
And sometimes they have side hustles.
yep. Yeah, she does HB90. So like she does that Kanban board, whatever, where you had the quarter 1, 2, 3, and she does like sticky notes, and she teaches you how to set up your goals or whatever, and you pay for that. And then she just had she has enough following for the heart breathings that they just had a conference, rented out a whole ballroom at a hotel just to meet her and spend time with her for what she teaches writers that she gives you for free. So all her stuff, like I said, all her stuff is free. You can go to YouTube and look her up. And it's all free. And if it has a link to something, you just sign up for a newsletter, which I don't ever read any of the newsletter stuff. And she gives you a Google Drive and she updates it. So even new stuff comes in and you still get it for free. So those little things help people as well for like your following and your newsletters and all that. But
What's her
People
name
love
again?
free.
Your mentor.
Sarah
What's her
Cannon.
name?
Sarah Cannon. It's Sarra Cannon. She writes a demon series. I've never read it. Never read it. So, but I like
You're
hers.
a canon?
I put her group. If you look it up on YouTube, it's Heart Breathings, Breathings. Sarah Cannon. I think that's how you spell her name. Like I said, I don't read her books. I know that sounds terrible, but I like the way she helps you write, because she also reads Save the Cat and she gives you the books that she references as well. So you can look up your own books to be able to do the stuff. And she helps you. She has templates for world building. She has templates for characters, for their inner conflict, outer conflict. So much stuff that's very simple to use. And she also has gone over, I know she did it in the group, so I don't know. She probably did it on one of her YouTube stuff, but like talking about querying agents, and you can send things to her too in her people. So like, hey, what do you think of this? And they respond, and the whole group is literally 4 people that are writing. So you can say, hey, here's my query letter. Here's my first line. Here's my first page. What do you guys think? And they will give you honest feedback. And they support each other. They're like, oh, they do writing sprints as well. That's where I got into the writing sprints, as they do them on YouTube. And they have 7 a week, and they have double down days where you have like, so this is that's where like I said, I've been doing a lot of research because I'm determined by the time I get this book done, I will know how to do a query letter. Will it be good? We don't know. I have no clue. But I will have enough knowledge behind it because I like learning stuff. So I will learn this part. You guys have to teach me the other parts.
And honestly, don't you all think that since we are all striving to get published, that since it is such a market now, it's a business, writing is not just being a creative writer anymore. It is a business, marketing yourself, that while you're writing your book, is go ahead on and create your TikTok page or your Instagram page. Hey, Rusty, you shaking your head, you
I
like
know
not gonna
I'm
happen?
not saying you're wrong. I just like hate it. Like I hate social media. I
Look,
hate doing
it's
social
a pain
media.
in the
It's not fun. It's like my
Hmm.
freaking
like. Look,
nightmare.
oh, what does Michael have? He's
What's
got
that,
something.
Michael? Michael, what you got for us up there? I see you holding up a picture.
Calling, like I got this, Maria Davila, horror and dark fantasy author. I attended one of her sessions, and this is basically her calling card. It gives you Dawn of the Bloodwoods out of like one, two, three, four different pieces of work, and this is what she handed out to all of us. And so, yeah, there is a bit of a side hustle business here, doing whatever you can to get noticed. And I was at this convention, and a lot of authors were dressed up, costume stuff. It was their characters. They were promoting their books by appearing in their characters' clothes. That's how far it could go. Like how far the business can go, because you're just doing everything. Even if you're handing out stuff that does not in a session that does little to your genre, you still have to you still have to do part of it yourself.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's why I said, wow, like if your novel is not finished, that will probably be the best time to set up whatever social medias, because I don't have any really either. And I am now looking into, I guess, deciding to try and set up a couple of social media pages so that when I'm done polishing this manuscript and I start querying, I can have something to put in those links that's not completely blank. My biggest concern is because I'm not a social media person, so I don't really know how to get followers and all that stuff. So even if you set up a social media page, how do you get people to
You
follow you? What do you do?
follow
I
other
mean,
authors.
I was
You
going to
follow
say
other
we
authors.
should try to follow each other, and then that way we can also support each other too when we're publishing something or trying to promote something, you know, maybe at some point we can like do an exercise where everybody, I don't know, shares their links or something, so that people can start following each other.
that
Yeah,
sounds
'cause
good.
I will show you my most watched video on TikTok. Let me tell you what it has nothing to do with. It is
Writing.
about this unicorn. Literally, it is.
All right, when you have
Yes.
when you have
That's
the
it.
eyes crossed with X's, that usually means the person is dead. So is that a dead your unicorn you're
Yeah,
showing?
yeah. It's his name. I even forgot his
Oh,
name.
he has a name.
So
Okay.
like it literally, and it says, I understood that, it has the background noise here. I'll even turn up the background noise that I need to do desk discord. His name is Aerodynamic. He is dead, filled with arrows. It's one of the Dead Unicorn series. And literally, let me see if I can get it to turn up the volume. Play this
Does
thing.
anybody have any suggestions for marketing or
Signing the assignment to you?
That's it.
sorry.
Sorry.
No. Does anyone have any suggestions for marketing for low energy people? Because this is making me tired. Just
Me
thinking
too,
about
Melanie. Me too.
You do pictures.
Mm.
Take pictures. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, that was very loud. You like, okay.
So one of the things that I'm going to do is like in Ohio, where I live, there's a lot of like small independent bookstores. So I plan to reach out to them and ask them not just about putting my book there, but having a book signing since I'm an Ohio author and maybe to promote my book. I take it as part of marketing, as part of trying to get, people to start following me. Um, that type of stuff. I mean, I think that's kind of low energy. I don't know, maybe it's not. But I mean, that it's just part of my plan is to I mean, I think you know, I don't know how to say this, but there's excitement, of course, when you're doing this. So maybe you'll get like a boost of energy to go out and meet people who are interested in buying your book or interested in meeting you and learning more about your book, and you as an author. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I plan to do.
Yeah.
Our library has I think it's once a year they have a thing about local authors, and you can go to the book signing, and they have some of them do readings, and it's like a whole day long of just local people and what their writing is and that kind of thing. So you might look into that as well.
Could we maybe this is really a question for Shirley. Could we put a document up on maybe the resources folder or something where everybody could go in and list what their Facebook is and their Instagrams and their X's and then, whatever else. So we know where to go to start adding to our list.
I mean, I think that's good to, because we're the best to support each other, right? We all are kind of in the same scenario. We want our books to be successful, and we're here all to support ourselves on this video. So I think it's good for us to follow each other too.
I did go to the FSU Creative Writing School and did some inquiries and told them where I was at and all that sort of stuff. This may be kind of a downer, except for maybe young guys, but they had absolutely no interest at all. They were highly negative on anybody that was my age or getting close to retirement or anything else. They did not want anybody older than some of their professors. So don't go to your local university because they were no help at all.
It's terrible. Did I learn?
Sad.
Hear that?
That's really sad to hear that. I study at FSU. It's just a bummer.
Yeah, that's not.
All right, so throughout the years, I've gathered a lot of resources, and that's what I've been posting in the chats.
Yep, I think I have most of yours written down.
Yeah. And on an up note though, too, even with the for those of us that really don't want to have to do all that social media self marketing, I don't know if it's luck or what it is that you still get people like the author of 50 Shades of Grey and books that they were debut authors. Once that book got published, boom, they just blew up and millionaires overnight type thing. So it is still those options. And then too, another thing with how Diane suggested with us supporting each other. My first book, even though it was self-published and wasn't a #1 seller or nothing like that, ahead of time, I did a pre-sale on Amazon, and just the very few friends and family I knew, that week I put it up, within that week, 35 people bought it. I don't think any of them necessarily read it, but they were supporting me. So even with us supporting each other, then family and friends, you ask them to put their information on their Facebook page or social media. So we may not ourselves be a big social media person, but we may know other friends or family who are social media persons, and they're proud of you and they love the fact that you're doing something positive. When people say, well, Shirley, just the fact that you actually finished it, whether it's a great book or not. Because when we went to it wasn't a family reunion, but it was a gathering of a few of them I knew had bought it. I asked them, did you get a chance to read it yet? Oh, not yet, but I'm gonna get to it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they're just supporting me, which is totally fine. And some of them actually brought it and wanted me to sign it for them while we were at the gathering. But there's so many ways that if you're not that person who want to be the social media, um, rely on family and friends and stuff like that. And one other
Oh,
thing mhm, that I know that worked as well for when I had did my first book because I had self-published and I subscribed to Writer's Digest. They have a yearly contest for self-published authors, and so it costs a little bit to join the contest. But the person who I didn't win it, the person who did won that year that I submitted, they automatically get their book published. But then she also her little thing became a book. I'm not a book. I'm sorry, a movie. So she got a movie script and everything for it. So sometimes joining contest will help because if you are the winner of the contest, then that automatically puts you in front of agents and publishers and stuff like that as well. So even though you may spend 25 or $30, whatever the going rate is right now for to join a contest, if you're on that list of 25 winners or more, that's just that much more exposure that your information is getting. So there are a
Hey,
lot of things we could do. Mhm.
I just want to say I love this all. I would love to do this all again with you guys, but I gotta go. I hope that you guys have fun. And Cheryl, if you ever post the recording, I would love to see what you guys talk about afterwards. But I gotta go. So
Yes, thank you for your
Sounds
query
good.
letter so we can
yeah,
no, thank you.
of
Yeah.
course.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
See you, Jen. Bye bye. All right.
Anybody
Really?
besides
And,
Jen using a pen name?
oh no, let me answer Zyri. I see a hand raised up there. What you got for us, Zyri?
I have a question,
Mhm.
but I forgot. What was my question? Okay, I will ask you like later.
No worries. If you think about it, you can always put it in the chat or re-raise the hand. Um, so that'll work.
really,
Hmm.
this is our support. What you do here with the group, because supporting authors is just as essential for morale than or a boost than writing. So I know I get a boost of confidence when I submit a piece and people that I know and respect are criticizing my work and telling me what's going on. That's a big thing for morale, and you do need a lot of morale in this business. So
Mhm.
you're already serving that function, and we all here, we're here because of you.
Well,
Yep.
thank you, Michael. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you much.
And now that I have everybody's attention with that comment, I posted a lot of links over in the chats.
In the chats,
I
yeah.
haven't checked them in a while, but
It may be better to some of those links put onto a sheet to put in the Google Drive because once this is done and
Yeah.
people that are
Amanda,
recording, they
I'm
can't
not
click on the
smart
link.
enough to do that.
Just open a Google Doc, put it all there. It'll hyperlink it because when the ones that are reading the recording, they won't be able to click on the chat at all. It'll
Okay.
pop up, I think, but I don't think it allows you to do anything on it, if
I
I remember
remember,
right.
All right,
sorry,
so we'll have
I
to.
remembered my question.
All right.
So, anybody consider Wattpad as a platform to engage readers? Because Wattpad is basically a platform for authors and readers. There are a lot of stories over there. Some of them are really great, and some of them gain success after publishing in Wattpad. So I wonder if anyone used that.
Is that similar to like those like paper chapter type things? I don't know what Wattpad fully.
I don't know what paper chapter is, but it's basically a social media that you publish your story chapter by chapter. People read that, comment, or vote for your chapters.
Really? Can you type that in the chat, what you're saying? What type? Is it
Yes,
WHAT? What?
let me.
I've heard of it and I've seen people talking about getting things published there to get um a following as
Yeah.
well. Um
I published the Persian draft of my book in Wattpad, and the alpha readers over there helped me a lot developing my book and noticing the like plot holes, and I even changed an entire character based on readers' feedback there, and they are real readers, like they care for more reading. That's why they are there, because there are tons of just unpublished books over there. Unpublished, I mean like not unpublished traditionally.
Mhm.
It sounds like the feedback you got from them are sort of like an alpha read like we would do, though, right? It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the same as what, I mean, unless Wattpad has a publishing service, it's pretty much like putting your stuff on the internet for free, right?
But it has the copyright and you can publish it after you publish. It's not like
But I
Kindle
think that the problem
Unlimited.
there for those of us looking to publish either self or not is that at least publishers, if your content is already free on the internet, why print it out necessarily? I think that that's a big, unless it's
That's a
super popular.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder that too. But I know some of the authors that got publishing contract after they published the whole book in Wattpad. So I don't know.
I think some of them, I know some of the people I was following that have mentioned it, they were putting in short stories like novella, type thing, not their main books that they were wanting published, but the ones that are kind of like they get the stories in your head and you have to get it out, but it's not the one you want to work on. They were doing that and they were getting followers through there for their social media, and getting their name out there and their writing styles out there. But what they were looking to publish, traditional or secondary, was not the ones that they were using. That's why I was trying to ask if it was like those chapter, paper chapter. You get so many
No.
free and then you have to start
No.
paying for the chapters.
Mm.
Or what it
Yeah,
was.
that's the same with
Wattpad.
Wattpad. You have to
Yeah,
pay.
Wattpad also says, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You got it.
Well, Wattpad also says on their homepage they only want Gen Z authors.
Cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's one of the first lines on their homepage.
That's
It's for
weird.
Gen Z authors.
It was not the case like 6 years ago when I started using that.
Well, I don't think Gen Z was old enough to write then.
Yeah.
That could be the case, honestly.
Well, branching off about what if you're putting on the internet for free, that's not there. I attended a seminar years ago, and the authors had little tapes of theirs, and what they would do is that they'd set up a system. Like if you pay $5 for free, you'll get the bare minimum of their recording. And the higher you go, the more information you would get. So that would rise up pretty quickly. So that kind of thing is marketing, and that's how getting it for the internet for free. It's not free, it's just that system. If you're willing to pay for the higher quality resources that you're attending, you can get that. But it's structured for the authors to make some side money for their profession and for their books. So to say what you're saying, nothing is free on the internet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I don't know about nothing. This stuff like what we're doing now is free. And Wattpad sound like it's similar to Swoon and Goodreads, where even though you are putting your stuff on the website for free, you're still getting feedback. Like on my first chapter of this book, every time I wrote it, I was not getting good feedback on it. So I rewrote it a couple of times. I didn't want to bother the same people again. So I put it on Jericho Writer a couple of times and got really good brand new eyes on it because it's all people that's writers themselves, debut writers themselves, and they want to help you. So it's always that slim chance or broad chance that someone might steal your stuff. But if you don't trust, then how could you get better? That's kind of how I feel about it. So I kind of put it out there. I get that feedback and then redraft it. And then when I put it out again, Brand New Eyes actually gave really good feedback, but this was after revised it a good 20 times before finally, you know, enough people looked at it and gave feedback to get it right. So I don't know. What else would you do other than if you don't trust putting it on some of the free sites, whereas other writers like yourself, then you're just going to wind up paying professional critiquers or beta readers or whatever to do that feedback, because a lot of those same free sites have beta readers that will read your stuff for free, but you still run the risk of piracy. Are they going to say, "Oh, I'll swap mine with you," and da da da, and then they take yours and sell it as their own? How do you know? It's just kind of hard to make a judgment call all these things, I think.
Yeah, because I'm beta reading right now for a person, and we just I didn't exchange anything with her because I'm like I'm not done, so like there's nothing to beta read yet. But anything that you switch anywhere, the only thing that helps is you have the proof that you sent to them, you had it originally, but they can change enough that it's not the same proof. So I want to say somebody does it through, I want to say the Squibbler, or there's another book something where you send it through there and they can beta read, do all that type of thing, but it protects you. So it's like it's done through, and I can't. It starts with the word books, of course. I will have to, if I find out what it is, I'll have to ask them, because they were like, "Do you have this, or do you want to just do Google Docs?" I was like, "Well, I don't even know what the other one is." But it was something that kind of like how it with yeah, when I figure out what the link is, I will most definitely share it. But it's kind of like how like you take the pictures and it has like the watermarks on it that you can't take it and you can't really change anything. Like you can comment on it, but you can't copy it. You can't, and it does it. And I can't remember I will find out what that website is because I see it a lot on some of my groups that I'm in. And that's to help with being able to send it out without it being as open to piracy as other things, because I know with even KDP and
Copywriting.
KU, it's a big, huge thing, because if you have your ebook on Kindle Unlimited and it shows up anywhere else, um, Amazon will delete you and delete your book because you're somewhere else, and that's part of your rules and regulations with them. So you have to prove that it was pirated somewhere else, and that was not you that was doing it, which is close to sometimes impossible to do. Um, but yeah, it's a huge thing.
Hmm.
But I will look for that website, maybe a few days, because I'll have to
I
remember.
remember a story that I'm just in the same RMR, and George R. R. Martin was talking amongst friends, and they were telling him, your new book is fantastic, and he said, "New book," and it turned out that AI had written a book in his writing style.
Mhm.
So it's more dangerous than ever, especially with AI here.
A lot of the things that people are writing in, you also make an agreement that AI can use your writing as like the Copilot whatever thing with Windows. Use your agreement that you don't read is that they can use your works, what you put into Copilot, to help build better things.
Okay, that makes sense. So I was confused on what Michael was saying with AI writing it. So AI didn't write it and put the guy's name on it. It just used his writing style to write someone else's book. Is that what you're saying?
Flawlessly, yeah.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the hard part now is, I was one of the people in one of my groups. They're like, so I was just kind of curious about this AI thing, and she's like, I'm right, I was stuck on my next chapter, so I went into Chat GPT and said, write my next chapter, basically, and she kind of gave like the story plot of everything. She goes, it wasn't like it was like so computer dumb that you would like, oh, that's AI. She's like, it was actually really good. And it now makes me question my imagination as a person if this computer can come up with something that I'm like, oh, I would read that. And, she's like, I didn't use it. She's like, but it gave me new ideas that I didn't think of originally. And, I was like, that's kind of scary. Like, I don't even want to put anything in there because like you're feeding it then the
You
information.
run the risk of getting it hacked.
Yep, and then you also run the risk of um, a lot of editors and agents will sometimes run your story through AI checker to see if it comes out what percentage is human written, what percentage is AI written, which is Grammarly and, those types of things as well are now more AI based. And they're fine with a rephrase here or there, or like, of course, the grammar, add the comma, change the word to this, the little small things. But like, I use Pro Writing Aid, and even in Pro Writing Aid, if I say rephrase, there's this one report where you can ask it to rephrase things for you, and like every sentence will be underlined, and you can literally rephrase every single sentence, but it would all be then AI generated and not my writing. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of scary that you can rewrite my entire thing based off of what I have here, just if I click a button. And I won't even click the button. Like I pulled it up and I was like, I'm not even going to click to have this happen because God forbid I delete one thing and it saves this version of it. And that's the one I end up using. And then I get, in trouble for AI writing. But like, I'm kind of curious if I just write a cute little something blurb and then just try it again, how off would it be? How different would it be? And how good would it be? So I may have to just kind of be nosy and see about that because AI stuff is kind of interesting, but I don't want my books to sound AI or come across as AI. 'Cause apparently they
Honestly, and I'm happy that you brought up the AI stuff because I was talking with another writer about that. And with just like anything in technology, um, AI is just booming right now. If when I read all these different little newspaper articles and everything, I could tell that they're written in AI. Most stuff is being ran through AI. It's almost like you don't even need a critique group because if you write it and you put your writing in AI and ask it to critique it for you, it's going to give you all of the same information type stuff that a group would give you without the human element, of course. So if you're competing with all these other, as John said, Generation Z people, I could 100% feel like they're probably using AI because it's their generation technology. So it's the norm. If you're competing with everyone else that's using it anyway, why would you be afraid to use it yourself? Because it can't take the ideas out of your head. So in order for it to, I guess, rephrase it for you, it's just rephrasing what you've already created. Is that correct?
But no,
Or
you can also put in, I would like to know a story about a guy named Jack that fights giants and his girlfriend's name's Stephanie and they fall madly in love. And it will write you a whole story. So it's not
okay.
just the rephrasing part. Like those things you can use in order to do the because like me with my passive verbs, I have to use a lot of rewritings, not like use their rewriting, but like I have to remember to rewrite. And so like I see the little purple underline. So I'm like, okay, gotta work on rewriting this because I have so many passive verbs in this one section. I don't mind it here and there, but like sometimes I'm like, oh well, Jesus, everything's passive. So like I have to, go through and that brings my attention to it. And if I am stuck and like no matter how I rewrite that sentence 12 different ways to Sunday and it's still passive every single time, I'm like, why can you not do it? Either one, I'm like, you know what, that sentence is going to be passive. I don't care. Or if I really want it to be very active, I'll use the rephrase. And that's not a huge thing. But the bigger thing is now they're selling courses. I see this all the time, advertisements. You can write your nonfiction book in 30 minutes by talking with ChatGPT. And they will write you an 800-page book in ChatGPT. I mean, like you have to feed it a lot of information in, and this is how you do it. And I'm like, that that's the part that they're worried about with the AI. Like, I can't figure out this chapter. I'm just going to put down what my outline of my chapter is and let AI write it. That's when they're looking for the AI type stuff, is I can't figure this out. Let me put it all in there and it spits it out. And then I'm going to copy and paste it and put it here because I'm stuck on this chapter and forget it. I'm just not going to deal with it anymore, instead of like doing placeholders or whatever. So when they're talking about that type of AI stuff, and also book cover art, a lot of the AI, because it's been fed through things that artists have actually done, instead of hiring an artist, now people are using AI art for their book cover stuff. So that's doing that. You can also use AI instead of getting a voice actor to read your book. You can now use AI to read your book, and that's where they're having the issues because it's cutting out the need for human people versus what you can do without the human people. Because in pro writing, I had the lifetime one. So like if I pay $25 extra, it will go through my entire manuscript and edit it like an editor does. The entire manuscript. Now instead of chapter by chapter. Right now it does chapter and it tells me what my strong parts are, my weak parts are, where it would be. I mean, like it gives like a whole critique like an editor would. So I use that. Like I have it do it chapter per chapter. But I don't like, I'm worried about if I use things too much in there. Like I still want it to be my writing. So like all I do is pay attention for the lines. Just a little, the purple line, the yellow line, the blue line. They have like different colors for different meanings.
So what about the rest of you guys? Anthony, Angie, Melanie, George, and Michael, anybody, Zyra. What are you guys' thoughts on this AI writing thing? Is it taking over the industry? Is it taken away from writers that write from scratch? Do you approve of it, disapprove? What are you all thoughts on AI writing stuff?
I think AI cannot replace human writing. Although it might be it might be some assistant in future to just brainstorm ideas, or like I use AI for coming up with new names for my spells, because I struggle a lot to come up with new names for that, but I don't use the names exactly as it suggests, but like it just gives me some ideas. But I think especially for longer books like fantasy series and stuff like that, AI can never replace human mind, because um, the fiction genre is just so complicated, so rich, that AI cannot even understand that most of the cases. So I don't have any concern about that. Um, I wonder what you guys think about the translation. Sometimes I struggle translating some of my paragraphs from Persian to English, because I initially uh write in I initially write in Persian, right? I sometimes I write in English as well. Like as I'm getting through, I'm gaining more English skills. But sometimes it just comes easier in my first language. And then if I struggle translating it, I use AI for translation. And I just think that it's like using a translator. It's like hiring a translator to do that for you. I don't see it as like AI generated. And if you just go through like if I put that paragraph into AI detection, they usually don't like detect it as AI as well. So like I wonder how do you see that? Honest ideas.
I see, like you said, translation. Michael.
My experience with translation is that, you know, kind of like the grammar suggestions, you can use it as a guide, but you can't rely on it. It's not that good yet. And it will make very basic mistakes sometimes. but you certainly use it for translation to give you ideas about how to express this in English, as long as you look at it with a critical eye. I agree with you too, Zara, that I don't think fiction writers are going to be put out of business by AI. Nonfiction, I don't know that they're going to be put out of business by AI, but it could become a lot easier for like a historian to write a history of whatever by just plugging in all of this information.
Sorry, I was disconnected.
You didn't hear her?
I'm so sorry. No, I didn't hear you, Melanie.
I'm sorry. No, I was just saying that what was I saying?
That fantasy and the fiction writers are probably more safe than nonfiction because it's
it depends. I mean, nonfiction I think would be easier for AI to write if you had a historian who just wanted to put in a lot of facts and maybe tell AI that I want the focus to be on this. I think AI might handle that a lot better than writing a novel. But I don't know if publishers are going to go for that with the nonfiction stuff. You know, it could make your life a lot easier, but
yeah, they're just saying that if you self-publish for nonfiction, here's how to do Chat GPT, and you put in blah blah blah, and then now you have a nonfiction book, and you get to publish it. And I was like, that's so much cheating because even the people that write nonfiction, they're pouring in hours, days, years, sometimes into the books, and you're clicking on some buttons.
yeah. You know, if it comes to be accepted, then I guess everybody who writes that kind of fiction, nonfiction, everybody who writes nonfiction, maybe their life is easier and all they have to do is research and you know, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this whole concept of AI. I think there are a lot of problems with it. And, you know, Silicon Valley is just falling all over themselves over it. And the rest of us are probably going to have to verbs all over our faces or something. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like the idea. I don't really like the ideas of AI, and I don't really use it at all. So, and I don't plan on using it.
It's a whole different, it's a couple of different generations in here too. Anthony, do you have any comments on that AI stuff? What are your thoughts? Do you want to share?
I find it to be derivative, and I frankly I think it's good for us to get inspiration from. As you know, I use it for AI art, but I never cite those things. I won't include those things. I don't think that it should affect. I would not even use it to check grammar. I think that it's I could be wrong, but I think that the people that you then, if you're going traditional publishing, if you're going to submit to someone and you're going to say, oh, I submitted it and it looked at my grammar. Oh, well, that colors you the wrong way, I think. So I would be worried about that. I don't think it's going to replace us. I think we've kind of had this conversation before. I think it's good for research, but that's about the extent that I would use it for. I'd be also worried about it giving you names. So it's fun to play with, but as long as that stuff that you play with doesn't leak into the actual creative artwork, then I mean, I don't know what questions publishing houses and all are asking, but those are the ones I would be asking if I worked there.
Yeah,
Does
because
that
I
make
use it
sense?
after I write everything, And we all know that my grammar and my punctuation is atrocious. So like I write everything and then I just go through and fine tune it. But like, here's a comma, here's a period. Can't spell this word to save my life. And I get it wrong every single time. I don't
Yeah,
know why I don't just write
literal.
it down, but like I get it wrong every single time. And then with my some of the rephrases, and what I do like though when I'm using the pro writing aid is it tells me how many times I clicked on that, helping me with the passive voice. So like I limit myself. Like I try to go through the first time and fix as many of them. I just see the line, and then I try to make sure that I'm not like, oh, if I have 52 of them, clicking 51 times and doing it that way. Like I try to just use that line that's like, hey, by the way, that's here to work on the things. And I have no problem telling my publisher, yes, I've used Pro Writing Aid to help notify me of these types of things. And then when I send it through the report to tell me kind of like an uh kind of a view on like where my strengths are and things like that, um, it doesn't do anything but read it and give it to it. It doesn't correct or change anything. It gives you kind of like the same exact feedback that you could get from somebody farther along. I've only done it to I think chapter 1 and chapter 2. I think just to kind of curious to see what would be the difference because they were written at two different times. But like I can't do like how I showed in here in the chat. You type in, oh, write a story that write this. Like I couldn't do that part of like then using that to do something or outline a story for me or any of those.
I don't disagree. I just think that that is a lot to explain.
Mhm.
And I mean, some of these things are online. We can probably find out what the answers are for publishers who, um, Grammarly has been giving me ads on YouTube for a better part of a decade, and I've never used them, and I find the ads so incredibly annoying. Um,
Yeah, but
so
now the Copilot for even Word is AI. So if
Yeah.
you click on like the little squiggly blue line and you say correct that word, that's now all AI.
yeah, I have
It's
Copilot turned on.
everywhere on those parts for everything. There's unless you 100% de-AI your computer, which is close to impossible, it's some of it with the corrections are going to happen. I just think if people are realistic in what they say they're using AI, like I use the pictures all the time. I have a whole thing of pictures to describe like I have this image in my head and I have to see the picture, use it all the time. Does it really go anywhere? Not very far. It stays in my stuff. Um, so I think, I'm kind of like the in between. Like I'm
I
not going
think
to use AI for my art, for my book.
this whole conversation, whether it's about, the AI, use of AI, or the what route of publishing, it's all about what our goals are as artists, as writers, right? So whatever you're comfortable with, right, is up to that. If you want to become the next Dan Brown, um, the thing that you're going to have to struggle with if you do end up blowing up is the inevitable question of
Yep.
your fans, and are they how are they going to take to whatever extent that you have done.
Yep.
I mean, it's anyone, right?
Yep.
We're all going to have this if we blow up, if that's even a goal of ours.
Yep. And I use to where I'm comfortable with, and I've looked at some that I'm kind of like, and I'm like, okay, not comfortable with that point. So again, like you said with the discussion, it's where were you comfortable? I have no problem saying, oh, I was doing this, this, and this, you know. And if you want to question the rest of it, you can question the rest of it, but you can look and see that I didn't do this, and this. And I think, like you said, it's just a comfortability level. Because my grammar, I can work on grammar every day. I have never, even in my English classes and in college, they're like, "Oh, love everything, hate your grammar." Like, like I've always been terrible at it, always. And like from elementary school all the way through college, my grammar stinks. Don't ask me where to put a colon, a semicolon, how a phrase of a sentence goes. I couldn't tell you adverbs, noun. Like, I am terrible at all of that. I don't even know how I write. Like, honestly, I don't. I write how I talk. So I do need to rely on that. I'm perfectly fine saying I need to rely on it because I am crap at that part. And I will happily say that I am crap at that part. So yeah, like you said, it's completely up to each individual person and what they would like to use it for. Like, I know I have a mock cover of my book, which is AI art. It's not what I'm going to use at all because I just wanted to see what it would look like with my name on something with the title and stuff. But again,
And that's motivating. That's how I essentially use it too. So
I think
because I
the
showed you my
real-
pictures of my little thing, so I have the pictures, but am I going to put them anywhere? Yeah, so not going to happen.
I think the real concern, especially for publishers, is are you really writing your stuff?
Mhm.
You know, and I think as long as you're really writing your stuff, I don't think you're going to run into a big problem with publishers if you're using some tool to check your grammar or your spelling.
Yep.
You know, they probably prefer that to you submitting something that's full of grammar and spelling mistakes.
Yeah, y'all don't want to see what my pages look like before I do that. Like every other sentence has like 2 or 3 like red lines and squiggly lines and blue lines, and I'm like, oh Jesus, like it's so bad. So
Yes. I need to jump off as well, Shirley, but thank
Me
you for
too.
organizing this. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It was
was
so
great.
useful. It was so
You're
nice to
welcome.
see everyone again. Have a good night.
Good to
Thank
see
you as
everybody.
well.
Good to see you, Zara. I'm glad you're
Thank
yes,
feeling
happy you're
better.
healthy and happy.
Thanks. Thank
Yes, so
you.
we'll see y'all again. And I'll say this before we jump off then. So I know I've ran a lot of my story through the Copilot because like you said, that's what's on Word now and it corrected all my stuff. So if I ever do get published, I'll let you guys know if the publisher or if I get to that point where they have something to say about it. Because I feel like what Melanie said, they'll to me, they'll see I wrote it. Then I put it in this little AI thing, and the AI thing
Exactly.
corrected my stuff. But they'll see it didn't write it for me. It just perfected what I wrote. So that's why I was kind of curious what other people's thoughts were on it because for me it's kind of a lifesaver. It just helps a lot where you're not researching every single thing on the web when you could just co-pilot, hey, does this make sense to you? You know, and it helped you on the spot. So but we'll see. So I'll keep you posted on what I learn.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. Have a very good night.
All right.
See
Good
everybody
night.
soon.
Thanks, all.
have a good night.
All right.